What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, your man's Toxic Gamer 331. Back out with another review. And today we are going to be giving my full review, spoiler-free, of The Flash. And before we get into the actual video itself, guys, don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because number one, it's absolutely free, and number two, we are on the road to 300 subscribers now, just 92 away now. Really help out your boy if you did subscribe. It also goes for people that have been watching my channel for a while and haven't subscribed yet. Don't forget to like the video if you like my toxic movie reviews. Don't forget to ring the bell for notifications and notification when I upload. Also, do share the video because I'll also help me out, and do also feel free to comment. But before we get into the actual review itself, let's do a quick plot synopsis, shall we? Worlds collide when the Flash uses his superpowers to travel back in time to change the events of the past. However, when his attempt to save his family inadvertently alters the future, he becomes trapped in a reality in which General Zod has returned. Threatening annihilation with no other superpowers to turn to, the Flash looks to coax a very different Batman out of retirement and rescue an imprisoned Kryptonian, albeit not the one he's looking for. Also, I would just like to point something out. If I feel, how do I say this, not as energetic or happy as my regular videos that you guys know me for, it's because today is 1 year ago today since my dog died. Yeah, and I'm kind of still going through that. I pretty much cried all my tears out, that's for sure. But I'm still kind of missing him. So, and I want to post this content out. I'm not doing this because I have to, but I want to get this content out for you guys so you can watch it. So, yeah, if I seem a little bit not as energetic today, that's why. But I have my notes here to talk about, so yeah, I'm going to take a swig of water, then we'll talk about it. And this is spoiler-free. Spoiler review should be dropping out tomorrow, so yeah. Alrighty then, so going into this movie, actually, before we get into that, going into this movie, many people, were hesitant to see it because of Ezra Miller and, all of his allegations and stuff. So, yeah, and pretty much, I mean, maybe some of you guys haven't even seen it yet because of Ezra Miller, which I don't blame you for that. But, yeah, and, this movie was doing test screenings back in 2021, I think. So people saw this movie early. So, and there were very very positive reviews going into this movie before then, and I wouldn't say, people were saying it's the best comic book movie of all time. I wouldn't say that, but I would say it's a very good comic book movie and a good DCEU movie compared to the others in there. So, yeah. But with that being said, let's get into the actual review itself. And also, I'm bringing the Toxic Mita into the fold yet again. Alright, let's start off with the good. So, Michael Keaton returning as Batman. We all saw it in the trailers. Every single time he popped up on screen, he was a scene stealer for me. And before Robert Pattinson came out as Batman in the Batman movie, Michael Keaton was actually my favorite Batman besides him, which I know would shock a whole lot of people. Probably they were expecting me to say Christian Bale. Christian Bale as Batman, I think, is okay, but I prefer him as Bruce Wayne. So, yeah. But, yeah, and whenever Danny Elfman's iconic score comes into play, whenever Batman's, fighting or beating people up, oh, I got goosebumps in the theaters. It was a great stuff whenever he was on screen. And, yeah, hopefully he returns as Batman again. Well, he was originally supposed to return as Batman again for the Batgirl movie, and that got canceled. So, yeah, that's sad. Another positive was Supergirl in here. Sasha Calle, I think that's how you pronounce her name. And she was a great new addition to the movie, and the only flaw with her character really is I wish she popped up a little bit more. She didn't have much to do in here. But that's okay, because I feel like if she popped up a little bit more, not that many people would, like, resonate with her, maybe. I don't know. But she was a cool new addition to the movie, and hopefully James Gunn keeps her for the new DCEU. Then we got, putting Ezra Miller's controversies aside, he acted great as Barry / Flash in here. Both Barrys, I think. And yeah, putting his controversy aside, he was absolutely great in this movie. And he's a talented actor, but he just has some problems with him. And I know, what was I gonna say? And I have a mixed feeling now, because after walking out of the movie, he was, like, really phenomenal as Barry Allen as the Flash. And if they keep Ezra Miller, I think it's a 50-50 situation with me, because it would feel wrong to the people that he, like, hurt. But the other 50% is how great he was in the Flash, because this proved to me that he can act great as the Flash. I know he acted very good in Justice League, the Snyder Cut or whatever, but I did watch that, by the way, if you were wondering. But he did, I think he acted decently in that film, but this proved that he can act as the Flash. Why isn't this going? My Lego pieces keep on falling over. Sorry, guys. And yeah. What's the next one? There is some, okay. Most of the people's flaws with the movie is the CGI, which we'll get to the other part of the CGI later. But some of the CGI I thought was actually really good, and it wasn't that bad. The rest of the CGI we'll talk about in the bad. Like, there's some moments in here, I'm not going to tell you what moments without getting into spoilers, so I'm not going to do any spoilers here because spoiler free. There is some good looking CGI here in the movie, but the rest of them is not that good. So we'll talk about that later. The emotional moments and the comedy worked both really well in this movie. I didn't expect this movie to have much emotion to it. I expected there to be a decent comedy in there, because DC movies gotta have some comedy in there. And then there's a bunch of dark moments in here too. Well, not like too dark, but dark moments in there that I appreciated the effort from Andy Muschietti. And also the emotional moments, they didn't make me cry, but they can make a lot of people cry, I think. And the humor in here, especially with, like, the other Barry, there's some funny moments with him in here, and also there's a bunch of other funny moments earlier in the film. So, yeah. And they nailed it with the humor and emotions and blended them in quite perfectly. So, yeah. Then most of the cameos in here were cool, but no spoilers about the cameos in here. So I will not talk spoilers, but there's a bunch of surprises in here that I thought were cool and got me to pop. So yeah. And then the final positive for this movie, I gotta give the Flash score. Like, most superheroes have to have an iconic score or great score. Like, for me, my favorite superhero movie score is the Amazing Spider-Man theme from the first one, which I know is a hot take over Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man theme song, but that theme I think is amazing. I still think Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man theme is amazing. So, yeah, don't get me wrong. But the Flash's score in here, they did a good job on, and they used some of the same score from the Justice League movies that I liked. So yeah, and I like the Flash score they chose to use in here. So yeah. Then let's move on to the mixed. I have quite a few mixed, not as much as the good though. And the other Barry, some points he's really funny, and then there's sometimes he's annoying. There's some points where I think he's annoying. He doesn't annoy me as much as other people said he was annoying, but there is some really funny moments with him, as I mentioned in the good. Like, no, I'm not going into spoilers. But there is really funny scenes with his character sometimes. Okay, then I got the next mix. The build-up for the final battle, some stuff in the third act I thought was effective, but there's one weird part in the third act that I thought was confusing, and I'll talk about it in spoiler review. If you guys are probably... I'll just say, it's near the end of the third act. It kind of bothered me, and it was kind of like, what? That's confusing. So, we'll talk about it later. Negatives. The CGI, as I mentioned earlier, and Andy Muschietti. Well, I did say it right. Muschietti, yeah, right. Andy Muschietti. How come I just said it just now? Okay, whatever. Andy Muschietti said reportedly in interviews that the CGI was intended to look that way for the movie because the Flash is supposed to see those things that way, which I get what you're trying to do, but you could have made it look at least a little bit better. There's some moments where it like worked for me, but there's most of the moments it didn't work for me, the CGI, and I went like, yeah, that doesn't look good. So yeah, and we can all agree, most of the people that have negatives about this movie is the CGI. And there is a spoiler negative that I'll talk about in the spoiler review. I honestly forgot what it was, but luckily I did. Then the negative in here is the villain. I won't say who the villain is if you didn't get spoiled about it. If you didn't get like teased about it in like the toy releases and stuff, but the villain in here was it didn't quite work for me. And also, one final negative that I just came up with now, it's more of a mixed, to be honest. There's an ending in this film that it kind of goes as if, was that supposed to be a joke, or was that supposed to be a teaser for what's next? Because DCU's not happening. This DCU is not continuing after this. James Gunn did say that. So I was going like, is that supposed to be a joke, or are you being serious about that ending? So that's another mixed aspect I have. And before we get into actual review, the score itself, there's a post-credit scene, and I will be telling you if you should stay for the post-credit scene or not. If you want some more laughs, you can stay, but if you think it's going to be game-changing, it's not a game-changing post-credit scene. You won't, and I didn't think it was that great of a post-credit scene, to be honest, so I'd probably say skip it, but if you want another good laugh, probably stick around for it. But yeah, with that being said, guys, that is my review of The Flash 2023. But before we get to actual ending of the video itself, guys, don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because number one, it's absolutely free, and number two, we are on the road to 300 subscribers. Just 92 away now. Really help out your boy if you did subscribe. Don't forget to like the video if you like my toxic movie reviews. Don't forget to ring the bell for notifications to miss notification when I upload. Also, do share the video because it'll also help me out. And do feel free to comment your thoughts of The Flash 2023 down below. And spoiler free, of course. We can talk spoilers in the spoiler review. So yeah, which should be dropping out tomorrow. And for my score of this movie, let's bring up the toxic meter yet again. I'm going to give this a toxic goodness. And if you want that in letter form, I'm going to give it a B+. I was expecting a minus category. I was arguing before doing this if it should go A- or B+, and I was going like, I think I have too much mixed, so it should be a B+. So, yeah. But with that being said, guys, I'll see you in the next one, everybody.